Please check your audio and video settings, please, guys. Yeah, everyone look at the chat box. If you have missed yesterday's class, because of meeting ID issue, don't worry. So I have shared URL of YouTube link, URL of YouTube video representing yesterday's class. Please watch it. Yes, guys. Listen. Yesterday we have developed one application. Okay, initial classes videos will be shared. So please don't expect I will bunk the class and video will come. No, we are not entertaining that. You have to attend live classes regularly. Okay, boss. This is our application, guys. Okay, let me run the application. Spring Boot application. Spring .30 and look at the chat box. I shared the video. I shared the link of yesterday's class. I'll share once again at the end. Okay, guys. Now listen. It is now taking .NET course. Now I want to change a .NET course to Java course. What should I do? Go to target class. Student is our target class. Okay, stop working with the primary. Yeah? Qualifier is better compared to primary, boss. Qualifier Java. So what is this? So now it is taking Java course. Now let us take the situation. Qualifier is saying what? You take Java course. Primary is saying what? You take .NET course. Then what will be taken, sir? Any guesses? What will be taken? If clash comes between primary and qualifier, who will get the higher priority? Qualifier what? Java course only. It is taking Java course as the dependent, which is recommended to use, guys. Qualifier is recommended to use. Why? There is an indirect possibility of getting bean ID required for qualifier annotation from properties file, and such provision is not there while working with @priority. So that's why if someone asks me which is best, sir, I will say qualifier is the best. I'll say question. If @qualifier are pointing to two different dependent spring beans, dependent spring beans, dependency to target bean class. While injecting dependency to target bean class. Come on. While injecting dependency to target bean class. While injecting dependency to target bean class, then what happens? Then what happens? Okay, answer. Yes, answer. At the rate qualifier. At the rate qualifier specified dependent bean gets priority and that dependent class object will be injected to target Spring Bean class object. Understanding my statement, guys? Okay. So this is one question. Right, if both are getting clash, this one. Sorry, if two dependents are having at the rate prime comes. Again, ambiguity problem comes, guys. Okay, now listen. But both cases, we are losing loose coupling, boss. We are missing loose coupling. How can you say? Array, I want to apply primary not on .NET, on Java. Again, I have to touch the source code. Sir, I want to change Java to .NET using qualifier. Again, I have to modify the code, bean ID in the qualifier. Again, I have to modify the bean ID in the qualifier. Are you getting my point? Are you listening my statement, boss? Are you listening my statements here, guys? So that means in both cases, we are simply missing. In both cases, we are simply missing loose coupling. So no, sir, I want to achieve loose coupling. When you decided to work with loose coupling, stop dealing with at the rate primary, stop working with at the rate qualifier, but there is a process to follow, guys. Now tell me, in Spring Boot application.properties will be recognized automatically, or I should configure it explicitly? Should I configure it explicitly by using at the rate property source, guys? Should I configure it explicitly by using at the rate property source? Or it will be recognized as part of Spring Boot startup activities? As part of Spring Boot startup activities, not only container created, application.properties from resources folder will be recognized automatically. So no need of going for explicit configuration. Understanding my statement, boss? Okay. So I'm taking my choice keys. Don't think that in this one only fixed keys will be there, guys. We have a ready-made keys and user-defined keys. You can place anything. Okay. Course dot choose. I'm taking my choice key, guys. I'm taking my choice keys. I'm passing Java here. I am passing Java here. Now listen. This Java application.property will be recognized automatically. This is Java I would like to get here. Okay, this is Java I would like to get here. This is my requirement. Okay, now listen. I know that whenever you want to get anything, you will simply say what? Placeholders, right? Dollar placeholder. Yes, actually I'm trying for one wrong thing, which is not possible. Okay, course dot choose. Course dot choose, guys. Course dot choose. Here is my double quote. Understanding? This is my thought, guys. Placeholder. Hey, go to application.property, submit this key, get the value. What's the value? Java, and Java should become value of qualifier annotation. So this is basic thought, guys. Everyone gets this kind of thought only. But this thought will not work out because placeholders will work only in @value annotation. This is not @value annotation. This is @qualifier annotation. Unfortunately, placeholders will not work in qualifier annotation. Placeholders will work only in @value annotation. Seriously, sir? Yes, check it out. Check it out. You got an exception? You got exception? Okay. All are created through pre-instantiation. That's not an issue now. Okay. What is the error? What's the error? Of type could not be found. It's saying that I want to do injection, could not be found, could not be found. Are you listening my statement, guys? So generally everyone gets this wrong thought, guys, but this thought will not work. My intention is that to say, because placeholder $flower bracket specifying the key of the property file, understanding my point? Hemanta, @property source it will not use. As part of Spring application.run method, it automatically locates the properties file. It's a bootstrap activity. It's a bootstrap activity. When I give statement, please listen completely. Don't interpret on your own. Dirty fellow. I said it will be detected as part of startup activities. I didn't say Spring Boot internally uses property source. Did I say that statement? I said when Spring application.run method is called, lot of startup activities will happen. One activity is detecting application.properties file. Not listening statement, assuming your own things are not entertained. I will scold very badly. Before my explanation, you interpreted your own. I agree that. After my explanation, if you think I should give answer what you expect, means not going to work out. I'm telling to everyone. As part of Spring Boot startup activities that happens in Spring application.run method, application.property file is automatically detected and located. This is the statement I have given. I didn't say Spring Boot internally uses @property source. Please stop assuming the things. Stop listening start listening properly. Stop assuming. My humble request. If you have any half knowledge of Spring Boot, keep that one aside. Hand over your empty brain to me. That will be good for me. That will be good for you. Don't attend the classes to show your talents. Come to classes to listen the subject completely, to analyze the subject. No, sir, I don't listen. I will analyze parallelly. Go to hell, but don't disturb me. Right, boss? Now listen. @qualifier this. We cannot pass bean IDs in annotations except to what is that? Sorry, we cannot pass placeholders. We cannot pass placeholders. Are you understanding my point? Okay, fine. Only in @value you can pass placeholders, not in other places. Right, then what is the solution, guys? Yeah, in Spring Boot, it is recommended to minimize XML if you cannot avoid it. So now I have a solution using what? I have a solution using XML utilization. Why, sir? In XML, there is a provision to provide alias name to the bean ID. Such a provision is not there in annotation. If they give annotation also, To change from one alias name to another alias, again you have to touch the Java code. So that's why they have given alias tag. Right now there is no alternate for alias tag, okay, in annotation. In future they may give, but as of now they have not given. So we can provide alias name. So I will take one package here, guys. Package. My Spring Basic students already aware. I am teaching this one by keeping newcomers in mind. Please be alert. Okay. Right, guys. What is this? Spring Bean configuration file. Spring Bean configuration file. Any name you can take, guys. But generally we prefer taking application context.xml. Beans is enough. There is no need of any other namespace. Just beans is enough. That means basic namespace is enough, guys. Right. Okay. Now listen. Here is my alias tag. Alias tag is there to provide alias name for the given bean ID. In the your original name is Srinivas, but there will be lot of nicknames or not. Childhood, Munna, Kanna, Chinna. Okay. Friends will give one nickname. Girlfriend will give some nickname. Come on. Wife will give some nickname. So lot of these nicknames are called as what? Alias names. For one bean ID, we can give any number of alias name by using alias tag for multiple time. How does that alias name can be given, sir? First, you have to pass bean ID. What is the bean ID? Java. What is the alias name? Okay, guys. What is the alias name? My choice alias name. What is the alias name? My choice alias name. Listen carefully. What do you mean by your choice alias name? Okay, I am taking course ID. Course ID is the alias name I am taking. Course ID is the alias name. But only the thing is, I don't hard code Java here. I will try to get bean ID. I will try to get bean ID from properties file by passing its key. By passing its key. Very interesting, boss. Concentrate. By passing its key. Now listen carefully. Tomorrow I don't want to work with what? Java. I want to go to .NET. Here I change to .NET. Here I change it to .NET. Now what has come, guys? Original bean ID is .NET and course ID becomes alias name for .NET. Okay, boss. Tomorrow I don't want to work with .NET also UI. What is the bean ID that is coming here? UI. Okay, course ID becomes alias name for UI or not? Okay, sir, what you do with this course ID? Take this course ID, go to student.java, reverse you have to do. Okay, come to this qualifier. Here we can pass bean ID or alias names. In qualifier, you can pass bean ID or alias name. Earlier I used to pass what? Bean ID. Now I am passing alias name. Okay, now tell me, guys, this course ID is alias name for which bean ID? For the value that is collected from properties file. So here I can give UI, here I can give .NET, here I can give Java. So without touching Java source code, I am able to move from one dependent to another dependent by just modifying properties file or not. By just modifying properties file or not. Okay, first feel the output. Feel the output. Okay, now what happens? Run the Spring Boot application. Oh, still error. Yeah, still error. I will tell. Because I developed XML, but I have not linked that XML to Spring Boot application. How to link XML file to Spring Boot application, guys? Go to client.com configuration class. Okay, there is a annotation called import resource. There is an annotation called import resource. Are you listening my statement, guys? Import is for to link one configuration class with another configuration class. But if you want to link a Spring Bean configuration file, XML file, come on, XML file, are only with property file not possible. That's why I'm introducing XML. Onkar, how fast if you accept that fact, that would be good. As a developer, I also want to avoid XML in Spring Boot. Since not possible, I am utilizing. Is that clear? Sir, I don't want to use XML. Is there any solution? Yes, there is one more concept called. There is one more concept called. What is that? Spring profiles. What here? Spring profiles or Spring Boot profiles. So very soon we are going to get that concept there. I will give solution without XML. But as of now, you have to follow this solution only. Directly, we cannot pass bean ID from property file to @qualifier. I tried in multiple angles. Come on. Satish Kumar, to solve ambiguity problem, we need qualifier annotation, not the value annotation. So with qualifier only, we can solve what? Ambiguity problem. Don't forget the fundamentals, Mr. Satish Kumar. Do you think @value will solve? What is your main intention, Mr. Satish Kumar? Respond, dirty fellow. Please respond. What is our main intention? Solving ambiguity problem or getting bean ID from properties file? Okay, you may say that take inside qualifier tag. That experiment is also done. That is not working. That experiment done. That is not working. Satish Kumar and two other ones. When you ask a question, when I give reply, please keep the good habit of responding yes or no in the chat box. Please behave something decently. Okay, now listen, guys. Okay, right now I have taken UI, Spring Boot application. Oh, sorry, I have not still linked, boss. 1 minute, I am excited here. Yeah, what is this? com/nt/cfg/ application context.xml. Application context.x, because this is configuration class come client application. How can you say it's a configuration class? Spring Boot application is internally having what? Spring Boot configuration annotation. Spring Boot configuration annotation internally uses what? Configuration annotation. Come on, guys. Okay. Run on Spring Boot application. See, guys, UI. It is taking UI or not? No, sir, I don't want UI. I want Java. Type Java here. Am I touching Java code? Am I touching Java code? I know adding XML in Spring Boot is quite against of policies, but that's why I say Spring Boot never says avoid XML. It says minimize XML. If you cannot avoid, minimize it. Java. No, sir, I don't want Java. I want .NET. I want .NET. If you give wrong bean ID, as usual, you will get error. Right now, .NET is coming or not? Are you listening my statement, guys? Okay, boss. Now listen. We can pass placeholders only in @value annotation to get values from properties file. Varsha Shinde, #Shinde, after listening entire Ramayana, if you ask me, can we handle ambiguity problem at runtime? Don't you think we are handling at runtime? I think you have to improve your communication, observation skills, guys. Okay. Next, Subangi is asking one more question. I want Java and UI at a time. Are take two dependent properties now, boss. Okay, guys. You have to take two properties now, boss. I course material, material one, I course material, material two. Okay, guys. Dhruv Kumar, right now the property file support, alias tag support is not runtime. Is not runtime. Runtime means you are expecting from end user. Okay, stop expecting from end user, guys. All these are server side configurations, right? Server side configuration means technical configuration. Technical configuration means can we expect from end user? We cannot expect from end user. We have to expect from programmer. Programmer means either property file or XML file. Are you understanding my statement? After enjoying the food, if you ask me what is the name of the food, it's meaningless, guys. I'm showing dynamically, I'm changing at runtime, and you are again asking how to do it. Be in the classroom, please. If you cannot realize what you are doing, it's a waste. Okay. I think like from Spring Boot onwards, nearly 200 members have joined, guys. Okay. Can I take one privilege from these 200 members? Can I scold you people whenever need is there, or I should behave properly? Because earlier student who joined from Spring Basics, they have given me privilege of what? Scolding, pinching, okay? What is that? Alerting whenever need is there in the classroom. So can I take same privilege from you people? I want reply from. No, some of them are working professionals, some of them are getting package of about 20 lakhs. I know that, but at the end, okay, at the end, and whenever there is a need, can I take the privilege of scolding? I don't scold very harshly, but I will try to alert you. Okay, thank you, guys. 100% people are saying yes. Okay, thank you. Right, guys. We can pass placeholder only in @value annotation to get values from properties files. That means we cannot pass them in another annotation, in other annotations like @qualifier and etc. and etc. Okay, guys. We can also pass placeholders. Now let me keep the privilege of passing them. Dollar open flower bracket this. Here generally we pass key. If you pass the key, we will get the value. Yeah. We can also pass placeholders in Spring Bean configuration in various tags of Spring Bean configuration file. Okay, what are various tags, guys? We can pass in property tag, constructor-arg tag. We can pass in constructor-arg tag. Alias tag, we are seeing alias and etc. Okay, of Spring Bean configuration. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Right, boss. Next one more observation. Okay, sir. What we are doing in XML, what we are doing in property file is not called hard coding. If you don't have fundamentals of core Java, please go and learn. Collecting from command line arguments, collecting from end user through scanner, collecting from properties file, collecting from XML file is not come under hard coding. That is called soft coding. Soft coding. And I hope these are very much fundamental that you are supposed to learn in core Java. Fundamentals are at least in servlet JSP level. Please guys. Application.properties. Application.properties. Application.yml file of. YML file of. What's the package name for them, guys? src/main/resources. src/main/resources will be detected and loaded automatically as part of bootstrap activities. What guys? Bootstrap activities, starting application, guys. Bootstrap activities of Spring Boot application that takes place application.run method. What method, guys? That takes place in Spring application.run method. That seriously literally takes place in what? Spring application.run method was. Okay. Fine. Ankur, all these are technical configuration you cannot expect from end user. Again, I am telling to everyone, whatever configurations we do in properties file, application.properties or XML file, they are technical configuration. They will be under control of programmer, not in the control of end user. Listen, changing one database to another database, changing one DAO to another DAO. These are end user activities or programmer activities, guys. Everyone please respond. Think in real-time perspective. They are not end user activities. They are programmer activities. So can we expect those bean IDs coming from end users? No, that's why don't ever think that I want to collect these details from end user. End user is a non-technical guy, cannot pass technical inputs. You are changing what? One dependent to another dependent. Are a target dependent bean ID, target bean ID. Come on. All these are what? Technical works. Only programmer can handle them, not the end users, right? Not at all the end users. Are you getting my point? So that's why in future also, don't ever expect these things should collect from end user and should change accordingly. No, 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 no. Yes, you may use property file, you may use XML file to achieve the loose coupling, but technically those things should be done by programmer. Always remember, Spring is always known as back-end programming. Spring is always there in what? Server-side programming. In server-side programming, whose control will be there? End user control will be there or programmer controller will be there? Programmer. So programmer never, okay. You always think about doing this thing from programmer perspective. Okay, good question, guys. Whoever asked, I have to give that point also. Okay, guys. Spring beans, and their bean IDs. Spring beans and their bean IDs. Bean IDs management is always server side or backend programming activity. Okay, backend programming activity, especially changing from one dependent to another dependent is completely programmer activity. Programmers changing from one dependent to another dependent is completely programmers technical activity. And we cannot involve non-technical end user in this operation. Non-technical end user in this operation. So try to collect required dependent bean IDs. We cannot try to collect what, guys? Required bean IDs, required dependent bean IDs from properties files or XML files, okay, which are under control of programmers. Okay, when I say properties file, what is like application.properties. Are you listening my statement, boss? Application.properties. Next one, XML files. What do you mean by XML file here, guys? Spring Bean configuration file, which are under control of programmers. Are you listening my statement, boss? Right. JRavi, again one and the same, na? Tomorrow bean ID changed. Again, you have to modify bean ID in @qualifier tag. Again, hard coding only, na, boss? Right. Okay. Next. Let's come to our application. How can we change? How can we change? How can we change one dependent to another dependent in Spring Boot application dynamically at runtime? Come on. Dynamically at runtime. Okay, through soft coding process. To continue loose coupling for programmer. Loose coupling for programmers. This is very popular question, guys. To simply continue loose coupling for programmers. Okay, guys. Okay, guys. Now tell me here. Answer. Yeah, we can do that by taking the support of application.properties. Yeah, YML is also properties file or YML file along with alias tag of what tag, guys? Alias tag of Spring Bean configuration file. I think you understood how it is working, boss. How it is working, guys. How it is working, guys. I think you are understanding. Govardhan Reddy, forget about this use case. Think about service DAO, DAO1, DAO3 like that. Forget about this use case. This is POC. In real projects, what classes we configure as Spring Beans? Not Flipkart, not DTDC, not student, not course material. In real projects, which classes will be taken as Spring Beans? Controller class, service class, DAO classes, data sources, these things, right? Think in that angle. Think in that angle. Don't go by this POC. POC is different. Real project is different, right? Okay, guys. Now tell me here. Step number 1. Keep any Spring application that is having ambiguity problem. Keep any Spring application ready that is having ambiguity problem. Step number 2. Yes, boss. Step number 2. Add user-defined message. User-defined message. Key is equal to value in application.properties file. Understanding my point? Okay. Application.properties file. Application.properties file, guys. Yes, this is my application.properties, guys. Specifying, okay, the required dependent Spring Bean ID. Required ID. Okay. Here is my application.properties, guys. Application.properties. Save, paste. Done. Okay. Now this .NET can be replaced with Java. This .NET can be replaced with Java. Java can be replaced with UI. That's up to you. It's your choice. Key is user defined, guys. This key is not at all predefined. This key is completely user defined. Okay. User defined. Key. This is user defined key, guys. Done, boss. Step number 3. Step number 3. Take Spring Bean configuration file. Take Spring Bean configuration file and provide alias name. Provide alias name for the bean ID collected from properties file using alias tag. Right, boss? Application context.xml, boss. Okay. Application context.xml. Here is the story. Done, copy. Save, paste. Yes, guys. Placeholder representing bean ID collected from application dot properties. Application dot properties. Yes, this is bean ID. This is alias name. This is alias name. Done, my dears. This is done. Okay. Step number 4. Step number 4. Next, tell me. Configure. Acha. Specify alias name. What is that? Specify alias name. Specify alias name in qualifier tag. Qualifier annotation. Qualifier annotation to resolve ambiguity problem. To resolve what problem, guys? Ambiguity problem, boss. Fine. Okay. Ambiguity problem. Yes, boss. Right. You should get the idea why I'm going for this also. I will give, this is commented. Okay, error. This gives error. Okay, some people may get this crazy thought also. I know that. I checked already and I have shown in Spring Basics all these possibilities. So are used like this. At the rate value. You cannot pass directly in the qualifier, na? Why don't you think like this? At the rate value, double quotes like this. I know some people may get this kind of thought also. Come on. Understanding? But all these things will not work, guys. This will work. Okay, success. This gives success. Right. This definitely gives success. But tell me, what is that? What is that course ID there? What is that course ID there? This course ID is definitely, this course ID is definitely alias name collected from okay, application context dot xml, application context dot xml file. Yes, boss. Banu, if you give bean ID directly, that is hard coding. That's why I'm creating alias name, but bean ID for alias name is dynamically changing. Okay, guys. Right, boss. Step number 5. Step number 5. I worked all permutations. Stop thinking. All are giving errors. That's why I have gone for this one. I have introduced XML, means I tried all the doors. Since nothing is working out, then only I have taken the support of XML. Don't forget that. Link application context.xml file. Okay, guys. Link application context.xml file with Spring Boot application. Spring, whatever container we are creating in Spring application.run method, it is not taking XML file as the input file. It is taking configuration file. So for that configuration class, we have to link this XML file. Are you listening? Spring Boot application. Spring Boot application. Tell me how to link, guys. Go to this place. This one we have to do. Go to this place. We have to link like this. So here some other lines. Okay. Here some other lines. Okay. Now listen. Note. To solve above problem, or to solve ambiguity problem without taking Spring Bean configuration file, we need to use Spring profiles, still not discussed. Spring or Spring Boot profiles. There's one more concept called Spring or Spring Boot profiles. Another note, to link Spring Bean configuration file with @configuration class, use @import resource. Use @import resource. Similarly, to link one configuration class with another @configuration class, configuration class. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Ashish, @component scan is for detecting Spring Bean or linking XML file. Use your common sense and brain. Look at the name, component scan. It is there to recognize component. Component means beans. But right now I want to see it is recognizing beans or XML file. Use basic common sense, my dears. Use @import annotation. Use @import annotation. Super, boss. Right, boss? So this is about entire story. Okay, this is about entire story. Okay, the people who joined from Spring Boot, they are asking one, two innocent questions in Spring Basics, guys. Okay, now I am giving one option to you people. When I start next batch of Spring Boot and microservices, which starts with entry 1 Spring Basics, I am giving permission to come and attend Spring Basics. You can continue in this batch, but when I start next batch of Spring Basics, Spring Boot and microservices, I am giving permission to come and sit for Spring Basics. Is that clear? So that your knowledge of Spring Basics also become more perfect. You continue in this batch because you already know some fundamentals of Spring, but you, to make that fundamentals more strongly, please don't miss that option. Shall we get into the discussions, boss? Array, I will give the meeting ID now when I batch starts. Stop putting innocent questions, guys. Right. Okay, now listen. It's a free ra babu. Yes, guys. Now tell me here, developing Spring Boot application using Java config annotations. What, guys? Developing Spring Boot application using Java config annotations. Okay, what do you mean by Java config annotations, boss? Listen, guys. What is the basic thumb rule of Spring, boss? Non-invasive, non-invasive. Spring is non-invasive. Yes. Please focus. After this, I will go to mini project development where we can see how industry uses Spring, how industry uses Spring Boot, how industry uses auto configuration. So many interesting things we have to study. But before that, I just want to spend some time on Java config annotation. What is the main feature of Spring, boss? Spring is non-invasive. That means Spring Bean classes we can develop without having dependency with Spring APIs, right? So that tomorrow alternate came for Spring framework, alternate came for Spring Boot framework. Same classes we can take them and use them in other frameworks also or not. In Hibernate, entity classes are non-invasive. So that's why you can move them across the multiple ORM frameworks or not. In Spring, maximum Spring Bean classes we try to develop as what? Non-invasive. That means without having any touch of what? Spring APIs as ordinary classes and interfaces, right? Especially ordinary classes. What's the advantage of non-invasive? You didn't like Spring. Better framework has come in the name of winter or summer after 10 years. Let us assume. As of now, no alternate for Spring, boss. Next 10-15 years, Spring will be there and Spring will survive. You may retire, but Spring will not retire. That is the absolute perfection of what Spring as of now. And not even alternate is there. Forget about outdating. As of now, no alternate for Spring. One man show is happening in Spring, boss. For Hibernate, so many alternates are there. And some of them are doing bit good also. Like Eclipse Link, IBIT is giving bit computation to Hibernate. But for Spring, no computation at all. No computation at all, and I don't think in near future it will come, because Spring has become ocean, guys. It's practically impossible to create another ocean framework alternate to Spring. Please come back. Okay, boss. Now listen carefully. But problem is, this is my target class. Auto-wide Spring specific annotation. Component Spring specific annotation. Array, can I compile these classes without having Spring libraries, guys? Can I move and use these classes as a target classes in other framework, guys? Other framework where Spring libraries, Spring jars will not be added. XML level, no tension, because plain class in XML bean tag. Come on. So plain class na I can move to other framework. But right now annotations. That too Spring supplied annotations. So ordinary class also all of a sudden looking like what? Dependent with the Spring API. Somehow losing non-invasive behavior, right? Somehow tight coupling with coming with the Spring API. We cannot move these big super classes to other frameworks to use them as what? Component classes or other classes according to that framework, right? That's why Spring says one thing. I know in JDK level, JW level, some neutral annotations are there. What annotation? Neutral annotations. What is the specialty of these neutral annotations, you know? If you take them and use them in Spring, they give Spring behavior. If you take them and use them in EasyAB, they give EasyAB behavior. If you take them and use them in servlet, they give servlet behavior. And if you take them and use them in what? Hibernate, and they work for Hibernate. What a beautiful concept, guys. Basically, those annotations are empty behavior annotation, and behavior will be decided by what? Underlying container or server, where exactly we are taking them and using them. Where exactly we are taking them and using them. And they are also called as Java config annotations. But unfortunately, 100% Java config annotations are not there in Spring. Maybe 30-40% annotations are there as Java config annotation. That's why Java config annotations are not that much popular in the Spring programming. Why? If they use Java config annotation wherever possibility is there, in some other places they are forced to use what? Spring annotation. Are 1-2 places they used Spring annotation, remaining places Java config annotation. Overall invasive only, na? Overall tight coupling only, na? So that's the reason Java config annotations are not becoming that much popular in Spring programming. But you should have idea, boss. You should have idea. Why? You know, you are showing 4 years gap as experience. He will ask, is Spring applications are loosely coupled or not? You will say yes. Is Spring applications are non-invasive or not? You will say yes. Then he will ask one intelligent question. In your Spring programming, you are using @component, @auto, right? Which are Spring supplied annotation. Then how come you can say they are non-invasive? How come you can say they are loosely coupled? Then you are interlocked. You cannot take your statement back. At the same time, you cannot say in other frameworks also these annotations will be there. Very intelligent question, guys, to lock yourself. First, he will make you to agree all the facts, which you cannot revoke. Then he will lock you. This is my style of conducting interview, guys. First, I'll make job seeker. Come on. I'll make job seeker getting trapped. Then I will lock him. Then I will see what analyzation he is doing, what explanation he is doing. Based on that, I will decide whether his fundamentals are strong or weaker. He just mugged up or he is doing analyzation or not. Okay, guys. Are you understanding my point? Okay. Developing Spring Boot application using Java config annotation. Yeah, what are those are? @named, @inject, @resource. These are quite popular Java config annotations, boss. Yesterday also you introduced. Introduced or not? Yes, boss. These are supplied by JSC, JWE modules. JSC, JWE modules. JSC, JWE modules. Okay. From Java 9, they are coming. They are released as independent libraries. From Java 9 up to Java 8, they are part of JSC JWE, boss. Independent libraries. From Java 9, they are released as independent libraries. Okay. Okay, now listen. For these annotations, the underlying framework or container or server decides the functionality. Okay. Decides the functionality. That means in Spring, the Spring framework decides the functionality. Okay. Understanding my point there. In Spring, the Spring framework decides the functionality. In Hibernate, okay. In Hibernate, the Hibernate framework decides the functionality. Okay, guys. In servlet, the servlet container decides the functionality. Servlet container decides the functionality. Are you getting my point? What they are, guys? Example, @named. Okay. @resource, @inject and etc. @inject and etc. Okay, boss. @named for two purposes: to configure Java class as Spring Bean and to resolve ambiguity problem. To resolve ambiguity problem. It's a multi-purpose annotation, guys. Next, @inject, @resource. Yeah, both are there for dependency injection. alternate to @auto void, alternate to @auto void for dependency injection. For dependency injection, listen, @resource cannot be applied at constructor level. That means @inject support, field level injection, constructor injection, setter injection, arbitrary method injection. Come on. @resource supports only 3 injection, does not support constructor injection. Recollect your thing, because it cannot be applied at constructor level. It cannot be applied at what? Constructor level. Understanding my statement? Okay. Now listen. Spring bean classes with Spring supplied annotations. Spring bean classes with Spring supplied annotations. Spring supplied annotations like @component, like @component, @auto void, and etc. Okay, are not non-invasive Spring beans by default. Non-invasive Spring beans. Okay. So to make them invasive, to make them non-invasive, take the support of Java config annotations. Java config annotation. I think now you got answer for interview question. Now you got answer for interview question, Mr. Amit. What to answer? Okay, if you use Spring supplied annotations, sorry, they are not non-invasive. If you want to see them as non-invasive, go for Java config annotations. Okay, note. As of now, very limited Java config annotations are given, are available. So it's practically impossible. Okay, practically impossible to develop entire Spring or Spring Boot application only with Java config annotations. Come on. Only with Java config annotation. So prefer the following formula. Prefer the following formula, or prefer the following order. Prefer the following priority order. Prefer the following priority order. Yeah, first priority to Java config annotations, guys. First priority to Java config annotations. Yes. First priority to Java config annotations. Yes, guys. Next priority to Spring annotations. If still not there, third party annotations. Still not there, custom annotations. Still not happening, then go for custom annotation. This is the order we have to follow. This is the order that we have to follow, boss. But 50% industry only following this one, guys. Only 50% industry following this. Okay, other 50% industry says, Array, though I use Java config annotation, I am forced to use Spring annotations. Spring means Spring annotation or Spring Boot annotations, guys. Come on. Okay, guys. Spring Boot annotations. Okay. Array, anyhow, we have to use Spring or Spring Boot annotation. Then what is need of entertaining Java config annotation? Throw them away. Anyhow, our applications are invasive. They are not going to be non-invasive. Come on. So let's use only Spring annotations. Let's use only Spring annotations. Understanding my statement? So this attitude is also there. Sir, what is good practice, sir? Good practice is this only. But whether industry follows or not, that's a secondary. Whether industry follows or not, that's a secondary. Why, sir? Very simple, boss. Very simple. As of now, there is no alternate for Spring in the market. That's why there is no question of moving Spring projects to other framework. When other frameworks are not there, come on. When other frameworks are not there, why we think about moving to other framework? First of all, competitors should come for Spring, na boss. Are you listening my statement, boss? So that's why I'm giving one note. Since there are no alternate frameworks for Spring, there are no alternate frameworks for Spring framework. So programmers are not thinking about non-invasive Spring Beans development, and they are using Spring supplied annotations everywhere. It is their explanation. It is their explanation. Come on. The people who are using Spring annotation, why are you using Spring annotation? Go for Java config annotation. Then they will ask reverse question. Why you are using Java config annotation? So tomorrow I can move Spring Beans to other frameworks. Tell me which are competitor for Spring. Not there. When not there, why are you thinking about it? And moreover, in near future, we are not finding any competitor framework for Spring. That's the reason only 50% industry believes this. Other 50% industry says, okay, I believe this. That's why I use Spring annotations. Both are correct, guys. Both are correct. Then what should I do, sir? Go by the mood of your project leader. Because you have to satisfy him at the end, right? You have to satisfy him at the end. So go by mood of your project leader. Go by mood of your project. Project leader is a technical person, not project manager. First, try to convince him. Sir, this is my thought. Why don't you think about using Java config annotations? Then he will use an analyzation. Okay. Then at the end, maximum companies are settling with what? Working with the Spring annotations only. By saying that when I have to move this project to other than Spring, when there are nothing like that. I think you are understanding my analyzation, guys. Some people uses it, some people completely unaware of these annotations. I think some working people. Did you ever heard about these annotations, guys? Did you ever work with these annotations? No. But some people might have worked. 3 guys. Dependency injection. Okay. Any working people, please confirm who worked with the Java config annotations. Okay. Java config annotation. Very less people is aware of, boss. Very less people follows those 50% rules. Okay. Bale Ganesh is confirming. Bale Ganesh is confirming only one guy. Okay. Abhishek Singh, can you concentrate on current framework, guys? Play framework is not at all alternate to Spring. Okay. See, so many people are saying that we didn't get chance. We didn't get chance. Right, boss. In my last project, we used @inject. Okay, super. Now let's come to our discussion. Student boss. Let me close all of them. I'm closing all of them. Here is my student. Yes, my dears. Insta, what is this? @named. Done. Yes. Instead of @autowire, I will take @inject. @inject. Sir, red mark is not going. We have to add relevant jars, guys. I will tell what are those jars in a moment. Okay. Instead of this here also, what is this? @named. Here also @named. But still red color is there as usually. Go to pom.xml, guys. Go to pom.xml. Here we should add one jar, guys. Okay, MVN repository is the good website to get this kind of dependency tags. Okay, javax.inject. Javax.inject, guys. Yes, done, boss. Take this, boss. Paste. Taken. Now come here. Control plus shift plus O. Still not gone. Okay, gone. Now gone. Did you observe this? Did you observe this, boss? @named course ID. Okay, done. .NET course, my dear. Okay, .NET course. Here @named. @named. Okay. @named. Fine. Next. Java config annotation. @named. @named. Next, UI. @named. Super, boss. @named. Done, na, boss? Okay. So now all are done. XML is required to solve the ambiguity problem. Everything is normal. But this cannot be replaced, guys, because no alternate for Java config. This cannot be replaced. That's why people says, anyhow, we have to still work with the Spring and Spring Boot annotation. Use everywhere. And one more problem I will tell. Any class only @named. It is a service class. You want extra facilities? No variety. It is a DAO class. You want extra facilities? No variety. For all Java classes to make them as Spring Bean @named. That means at maximum we can achieve @component behavior. We cannot achieve @service, @repository, @controller behaviors. This is the one more reason why people are not moving what? Moving to Java config annotation that much aggressively. Convinced or not? So that's why I'm giving knowledge, guys. If you are TLPL aware of it, you want to use it, use it. No, if they are not aware of it, leave it. Leave it. Everything we study in the classroom need not to be used in the project, boss. Understanding my point? They give a number of things. Everything we need not to use every time, right? Okay, Java application, Spring Boot application. See, guys, we got .NET because in my property file .NET is there. Mr. Surabh Jade, dirty fellow. I said @named is multi-purpose annotation. It is there to solve ambiguity problem and still asking innocent question. @inject, we need to use alias name for resolving. Here also we should use alias name, boss. And @named is there for that purpose. Saurabh Jade, listen class completely, Ra Babu. @named is a multi-purpose annotation. Are you listening my statement, boss? Okay. Keep that point in mind. Right. Now listen. These are Java config annotations. Java config. Wherever possibility is there, I'm using it. Nice. Now listen. Instead of inject, but inject, we have @resource also, boss. @resource, which is given by Java X dot annotation. Look at its source code. Type on the class. Come on. Type on the class, on the field, on the method. There is no constructor. Did you notice what, boss? There is no constructor. I already said that statement. Fine. Look at @inject. On the method, on the constructor, on the field. On the field. It can be applied on method level, construct level, field level. Okay, that's one limitation with @resource, guys. Okay. @resource, done, boss. Okay, now run the application. Run as Spring Boot application. .NET. Array, why .NET, boss? Why .NET? Because in my properties file, what is there? .NET is there. No, you want to be Java guy, yeah? Right. Take the Java guy. Right click, run on Spring Boot application. Right click, run on Spring Boot application. Came or not came? Now Java course material is coming, guys. It's working or not working? Right, boss. When we talk @constructor level, it is nothing but class level. Ashish, first urgently learn fundamentals of annotation. Ashish, constructor level means on the top of constructor only. Type means on the top of class, interface, enum and annotation. Dharmendra Kumar, in my Naresh IT YouTube channel, 2-3 videos are there on annotation fundamentals. Please go through them. Ashish, Dharmendra Kumar, or anyone else who are having weak annotation fundamentals, please watch those videos. How to get my videos in the YouTube channel? Very simple. Topic name, space my name. Annotation fundamental, space my name. In the search box, you search it. Exactly 2 videos will get. Please watch it. Okay. Please watch it. The people who are joining from Spring Boot, I'm finding 1-2 problems. You are continuing, you are understanding, I'm happy, but fundamentals are going wrong here and there. No problem. Learning is important. When you learn, that is not so important. So videos are there, please watch it. Type means class or enum or annotation or okay interface on the top of their definitions, boss. Right. Okay, this is the jar that we have to add, boss. Now I used what? @resource. Now I used what? @resource. Used or not? But @resource is having one bumper offer. What is that bumper offer? You know, there is no need of using other annotation to solve the ambiguity problem. It itself having one name parameter. Using that, I can solve ambiguity problem. Course ID. It itself can solve ambiguity problem by using name parameter. No need of using separate parameter, separate annotation to solve the ambiguity problem. Are you listening my statement, boss? This is one bumper offer they are giving. Okay, where is this? This one. Right click, Spring Boot application. Working or not working? Java course material is coming or not coming? Okay. So here also I am passing alias name only. Alias name only. I didn't pass bean ID, boss. I have passed alias name only. Same old setup, same old story. Everyone clear on this point, guys? Okay. Come to this point. @inject can be used for. I run old project. Sure. Am I running old project? Third only ra babu. Third only ra babu. Who is this Govardhan Reddy? See the titles, boss. Okay. Yes, boss. Run on Spring Boot application. It's working. I'm running current project only. Did you notice it? Okay, now let me write some points, guys. @inject can be used for field level, constructor level, setter method level. Arbitrary means any random method. Arbitrary method. Arbitrary method level injection. Whereas @resource can be used. @resource can be used. Can be used for field level, no constructor level. Field level, setter method level, arbitrary method level injections. Okay, guys. Next one. While working with @inject, while working with @inject, guys, @inject. Okay, we need to use another annotation, named, named to solve ambiguity problem. Ambiguity problem. Whereas while working with @resource, okay, it's name attribute itself, name param itself, can be used to solve the same problem. Right. Next, one more thing, guys. To use different Java config annotations, we need to add different jar files. For working with @inject, @resource, comma, @named annotations, add what, guys? This one. Add this one. Are you listening, guys? Array, other day I have introduced lifecycle annotations, na? Those lifecycle annotations also Java config annotations, guys. Pre-construct @post destroy. I think reverse. Post construct @pre-destroy. These are also Java config annotation. To work with these annotation, we have different story. I think all are same, guys. Only small changes are given. I think you liked Java config annotations, guys. Actually, I supposed to teach in Spring Basics, but somehow I didn't cover in Spring Basics. By keeping, I want to cover along with the Spring Boot students, so that Spring Boot students also will be benefited. So I think, but the right place to learn is Spring Basics only. In Spring Basics only I have to. Okay. Right, boss. Now listen. Here I will give 1-2 dependent classes. 1-2 dependent classes and right, boss. Java course material, guys. Sir, can we mix up both? Already we are doing. Can we mix up Spring annotations and Java config annotation? Happily you can mix up, boss. No one says anything to you. Student.java. Instead of @named, can I use @qualifier while working with the Java config annotation? Happily. You can mix up, not a issue. Student.java, guys. Student.java. Listen. Yeah, this is valid one. This is definitely valid one. Yes, this is invalid one. Actually, if you don't write, also not a issue. And this is also valid one. This is also valid one. Right. Okay, let me highlight important things. @named, boss. Let me highlight @named. Okay, here also let me highlight @named. So this is the class name Java course material. This is the class name, this one. And this is student.java. @resource, @named. Here @inject. In inject, there is no parameter to solve the ambiguity problem, boss. There is no parameter to solve the ambiguity problem. Clear, my dears? Enjoyed today's discussion? Benefited with today's discussion? Okay, especially dynamically picking up the dependent, guys, through property file and XML file. That is weapon. So many people says Spring Boot means no XML. Array, if you add XML support, it will take it. And there are some dirty people. If you add XML also, Spring Boot won't allow. Okay, please make such people opening their eyes. Because when you create the situation, come on. When you create the situation, then solution will come. Without problem, how solution will come? I have seen 1-2 people giving statement in Spring Boot. If you want also, you cannot work with XML. Who stops you, Babu? Still, there are no annotation for most of the concepts. Method replacer. Okay, method replacer. Annotations are not there. Factory method bean instantiation, annotations are not there. Aliasing, annotations are not there. If you want to enjoy such features in Spring Boot, no option. You have to think about going forward. XML touch. You have to think about going for XML touch. Okay, guys. Now listen, guys. I am giving some task. I am giving some task to you people to complete very soon. BK Yadav, if you join lately, collect backup videos. Everyone can paste backup videos, including yesterday's video, guys. Prashant, we link it to configuration class. When it recognizing configuration class, it also recognizes XML file. We linked with the configuration class, Mr. XML is linked with the configuration class. Spring application dot run method creates what? Container by taking configuration class. Configuration class. In that process, configuration file, XML file will be recognized. Okay, guys. Yeah, the people who joined today, the people who missed initial classes, please watch these backup videos, guys. Please collect from the chat box and add it. Okay. Today's one cannot be possible, boss. Talk to admin. If you want today's video, talk to admin. Yesterday's one is pasted. First see and answer. First see and ask Mr. Musaddiq. Backup videos. Right. I'm giving one task to you people. I want you people to do it within 2 days. Go to Naresh IT YouTube channel. Go to Naresh IT YouTube channel. Search for Lamba KPI by Natraz. Lambak by Natraz. Very depth session I conducted, boss. I don't know how many sessions have come. Yes, 2 sessions have come. Lamba KPI by Natraz. Session 1, session 2. Session 1 for 2 hours. Session 2 for almost 1 hour 50 minutes. You will enjoy like anything. Are you understanding my statement, guys? You will enjoy like anything. I am giving time of 2 days. Today, tomorrow. Please complete, Mr. Mani Tapare. That only will be there in these videos. I ask to watch videos means asking what is Lamba KPI, sir. Dirty fellow, common sense is not there. Where you keep your brains to know that only I am asking to watch videos na. No. One title is kept means you should ask a question. What is that? Where is that? How is that? Come out of those school days, Ra Babu. Show some common sense. Okay, guys. Rasava Shankar, Google Classroom is created long back, boss, but problem is only one thing. Only problem is images are coming in a blur mode. We are working out. Once that's solved, I will use Google Classroom. Till that time, Facebook only. Right, boss. So I will give the link of Lamba KPI. This is Lamba KPI. Yeah, class is over from my side. I'm just taking the queries. Lamba KPI videos, guys. I'm giving 2 days time. Okay, JRV contact number cannot be given, but you can communicate with me through mail. Sorry, boss, because I have multiple works. I cannot take individual calls. Send, communicate through mails. Can we take multiple bean IDs for in one component annotation? No, sir. That is a string type, not array type. So you have to pass only one bean ID. Now tell me, someone is asking, what is the use of? I answer all the mails. I answer all the mails. 99.99% mails I answer. Every day night 11 to 11:30. My daily work is answering mails. Student mails I will answer half an hour every day 11 to 11:30. Or sometimes when I get the break also in the cafeteria, in the break also nowadays I'm answering mails, guys. Right. Okay.